you're trying to engage full on, like, especially in the late game, Nautilus might just get ripped to shreds. And then if you don't have a front line, good luck team fighting. I don't know. It's
I think the Nongshim draft has like it's way better. It does so much more because I think if you don't get Rascal fed and Rascal becomes like a really big threat in the side, like, or you don't get anyone else, like if Ruler gets like 3 kills early, then the game changes, right? Like it becomes a completely different kind of thing. Or if Dogdom and Kalin get bot gapped. But in a fairly even game state, you can hard engage with the Nongshim comp. You can go in aggressively with a big Azir play, right? And Encore and a Killer Instinct to follow up. But when you're kiting back, it's also incredibly strong. Camille and Olaf want to play very far forward and trying to do that into an explosive cast. So much good bot laners to the LPL, right? People, they found the hook though. Never mind.
God, Chronicler, it's your second pass. How are you so good at cursing these players already?
Thank you.
Yeah, I like this from Peanut. You know, he's kind of just hanging around. He's like expecting this kind of gank, this pressure to come in because no flash. And this counter gank could be huge, but the Seraphine in the front line might get burst down. You see Peanut, they're going to turn immediately onto him and take him down for first blood. That is massive for Gen G. And now Duckdom with no flash available. He's just going to get run down as well. And that's what Gen G really needed, and we're looking for this early lead, and they will find it. And it's a little bit more of an isolated situation. You can have some luck. I don't know what's going on. Bay just not understanding that BDD is about to hit level 6. That is a pretty massive mistake.
Addition to the team. And yeah. I mean, you said it. He hit 6, and that is immediately the end of it. Like, he has the orbs. That must have been a miscalculation.
Gen G, very slow, I feel. They're going to give the Drake over, and the Dredgeline misses. So, looking to try to force this fight now. We're going to have that ultimate now onto Kellen, and the engage comes in. The Hextech ultimatum miss on the Moonlight Vigil, but it doesn't matter because they're still going to kill Rich. But at the end of the day, I feel like that's not bad for Nongshim. You know, they're pretty far behind, but they still get that Infernal Drake at this point. A 2-man Seraphine ultimate. There's still a chance that you win that one, and you just gave up the Infernal, so... They don't want to give away this objective as well, but they will. Actually, Peanut is going to be able to take it, and Clid now trying to zone them out of it. Rascal taking a lot of damage. Really nice 2-man stun comes out. They want to try to deny this Rift Herald take, but in comes Bay looking for the engage. Immediately gets exhausted though, and Peanut over the wall is not able to do too much but disengage. That's going to be another kill as well onto Rich. And so we will get the 2 kills here in favor of Gen G, but at least Rich did pick up the
limits. Finding the exact moment at the right time is Ruler.
Oh man.
Okay.
Yeah, he just stands him up. He's like, okay.
Very rough. Very. That's the beauty. That's the beauty of online casting, isn't it?
Here we go again. Miss on the scat of the week, but Bay is just going to go in there and die essentially. Doesn't have any idea about how to get out of that one. Peanut's like, I guess I'll use Lamb's Respite now 1v4. He's going to get stunned down and taken out. A very unfortunate position for Nongshim, and Gen G just immediately chomped down.
Level of going in deep. They just saw him walk into the brush, and there is in fact, there was a brush there, right? Like Rascal couldn't see them. That's a spectator bug.
Try to hide in here because of the Ocean Rift, but here we go. The engage comes in, BDD from behind gets a 2-man stun, and that is the 2 carries as well. They don't care if it's 4v5. Gen G are just going to take the can-do away from the baby. Easy win here in this fight. Triple kill for the Olaf. The ace as well, as Gen G just immediately sweep them up.
Rascal ruining the close to perfect game there for Gen G by dying. Of course, you know, also gave Drakes, but I would love to see what happened there. I think Rascal thought he had a flanking position, but he was spotted on the deep ward earlier. And here we see that skirmish in the jungle earlier, remember? Kalin used his Encore there. The lack of that big, insanely strong ultimate means we really don't want to engage from one angle. We've already discussed multiple times why that is really... Peanut?
What is going on here?
Buddy?
Really trying to force this one. I do not agree with that decision, let me just say, as Rascal is going to get it going as well. Peanut having a little bit of fun. And at this point, you know, it's 11,000 golden lead for Gen G, so they're having a bit of fun as well.
Oh, Valdez.
They're going to isolate them. Yeah, this is not pretty.
Oh. You know, I gotta say, after
Ruler wasn't even there.
He's just clearing the mid wave. He's an AD carry, you know. He's got to get the creeps. And yeah, of course, you take Baron here. I really appreciate this after having like one of the longest LCK days possible.
That's kind of the absolute state of this game right now. The Olaf is 8, 0, and 10. He has his 2-item spike plus more at this point in the game. He can 1v5, I feel like, at this point. Not even joking. Like, I'm pretty sure he can. He doesn't need his teammates, but, you know, he'll share. He's a nice guy. Flash comes in here. Oh, BDD just making him look silly. Quadra kill. We could give this over to Ruler, actually. You see they're trying to slow him up, but the kill will just be after taken here by BDD. That's unfortunate for Ruler, but certainly 25-2 is a good lead for Gen G. They'll be happy with that range. And you see they're not backing off. They know how ahead they are, and they're just going to stick around. Nice cast, though, from Rich. Will this be the turnaround? 1,000 gold over to the 80 carry, over to Duckdom. That's pretty nice, but at the end of the day, I don't think it's going to matter too much as they get the hook on the Seraphine. And once again, it's 4v3, so even with that Kaisa, you're still going to be almost dying in your fountain. Ruler does go down, but immediately Duckdom follows. And Gen G going to be looking to take an insanely quick game here for game number 1 up against Nongshim Red Force. We're looking at 23.5 minutes to get the job done. They're not going to take out Peanut, but they did that many times because Damwon Kia versus Liv Sandbox was also a pretty stompy stomp. Here is the the graphs that we always look at. That's a lot of Olaf damage.
I actually did not expect that. I thought it was going to be mainly BDD. Obviously, Ruder had a couple of highlight plays. But Klid, I mean, he was extremely fed. He was, as you said, I think they could have 2v5 there as long as everyone just, like, you know, stayed in melee range of him. Yeah. But to see this amount of damage from the jungle is nice. Must feel good for Klid as well, as we've seen Flawless play the last couple of times. And I've said it before, I'm going to say it again. This is the Gen G that we've seen time.
We're back for the second match of the Friday night, and Gen G was able to take number 1 up against Nongshim Red Force. With this Olaf pick coming in for Gen G B1, Nongshim was able to lock down their Kaisa. So I want to point out that Nongshim is a team that actually prefers to have a strong bottom duos. So Seraphine paired up with Kaisa can do a lot of lane damage. So we wanted to see if Nongshim can make it happen based on their bottom priority, but this Olaf pick was doing a critical work in the early game. In the end, Gen G's decision was better than Nongshim's decision. And Gen G is trying to look for other winning recipes here in the LCK. I expected Ruler to actually play Zaya, but Aphelios was actually the pick for him. And I think that was the best link for his comp, but because this is a champion, they can land CCs to the opponents, and also it also have a burst damage, which can guarantee the bottom duos of Gen G to pull up some proactive plays. So with this Aphelios coming in for the Gen G's comp, they were able to have a lot of tools to lock down kills onto the Seraphine. So in the very early phase of the game, Kaisa was forced to use her flash, and then let's take a look how this 3 versus 3 fight goes. Well, this fight started off with Ruler down to about a half HP, but it's really awkward to see them going for this early fight because those kind of champion like Seraphine is actually really weak to early ganks. This is a champion that has to keep pushing forward based on the rain pressure, not based on the kills. And Kindred was in an awkward spot to reset, so he went for a cover gank, but Gen G picks up the win in that fight. You know, you cannot win a fight into Olaf in the early phase of the game, you know? So Olaf was able to pick up 2 kills in the end of that fight. And in the prior game, actually, there was this game where Nongshim made a really bad decision when they were looking for some early gank up against Olaf, and they were repeating this mistake once again in today's match. When you are having a skirmish up against that champion Olaf, you have to keep in mind that this champion can do a lot of damage as his HP goes down. So maybe Nongshim should have tried to play on the opposite side of Olaf instead of going for full-on 3 versus 3 fight. And Genji was definitely outplaying those fights than Nongshim Red Force. Now let's take a look at the second Dragon fight. So let's take a look at the Syndra's gold here. She had about 2.5k gold in her pocket, but he didn't reset for the Dragon team fight, even though she even had her TP up. So it was really odd to see Genji not setting up anything for the Drake fight. Because Genji had a huge mid lane priority, Genji could have easily won this fight as long as Syndra backed and purchased more item or finished their mythics. But Genji was not ready for this fight at all, so it was really disappointing to see them not doing anything before this fight. But somehow, based on their lead, they were able to kind of pick up some kills here, but at the same time, Nongshim could just easily pick up that Drake for free. Nautilus was able to find the initiation at the end of the Dragon try, but still, because Genji was in a huge lead, they could just push the issue forward based on the power they have. So we also want to point out that Genji made a lot of mistakes like that. They were super lead in the game, but they kept playing with their guards down. Genji did manage to put a very strong performance in this game, but Genji is a team that is looking forward to reach the top of the LCK. So it was really odd to see that they are not fully committing to solidify their strong lead. They were going really slow, which is not really the ideal kind of decision to see from a top-tier team here in the LCK. And the player of the game will be Cleed on Olaf. Massive KDA on scoreboard. And DPM is up to 916. We don't really get to see that kind of KDA in solo queue as well. With that early game gank actually opened up a lot of space for Genji to accelerate their lead, but we still want to a little bit criticize the macro decision coming out from Genji, because even though they were having a massive lead, they were not really that proactive in order to secure their victory. Genji, their centerpiece is the lane priority and also the teamwork based on those control from the junglers. And recently Genji has been trying a lot of new things in order to get away from the slump, but that Cleed performance kind of reflects the current status of Genji somehow. And PDD was also able to pick up almost a half of this POG vote. He had a really nice game starting off with a solo kill, and he was able to pop the enemies with his ultimate. Genji was really intelligent with the way they fighted this game, and Nongshim Red Force, they were more like a fighter in this game. So these teams are desperate for a refreshing win, so Genji took one step forward. Now let's check out whether they can solidify their victory in game number 2. Back to our casters.